And welcome back to Block TV. Time for one of the leading names in the sphere, famous and infamous at the same time. Yes, we are speaking about our guest today, none other than John McAfee, the antivirus king, presidential candidate, self-proclaimed fugitive, crypto promoter, island hopper, but above all, an enigma. A self-made millionaire who many may recognize from his last name, still popping on their computer. He has been through a lot in the last 20 years, and thanks to social media, he's kept us all informed of his ventures and adventures via Twitter. Now, since the beginning of the year, namely January 2019, Mr. McAfee, who's looking smashing there with his sunglasses, was on the run from U.S. authorities and living internationally on a boat. Following the convening of a grand jury to indict him, and this is per reports, he, his wife, and four of his newly announced 2020 presidential campaign workers on tax-related charges are on a boat, supposedly. Nevertheless, McAfee, a highly publicized, on-the-run enigma, as I called him, joining me in studio, Block TV's Zachy Hennessy, had the pleasure to track Mr. Hennessy for the last several months. That also includes the fact that there is a new exchange that was launched by Mr. McAfee called the Dex, right?
That's right. So he's promoting the McAfee Dex. It launched earlier this month, October 7th. It aims to be, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, John, but it aims to be the first decentralized, truly decentralized crypto exchange. We've been working on promoting it. Kudos to you. You've been doing a great campaign for it. And but before you tell us all about it, because we want to hear all about it.
It was all done on the run.
That's
supposedly.
right.
Right.
But before you tell us all about it, we're going to take a look at the last few months of your exploits. Let's go.
Let's take a look.
I have 25 hours to get out of this country with the boat, or else I go to jail. I need a fucking captain.
John McAfee is a man who's seemingly always on the move. In the past 4 months, he's seen more of the world than an underpaid employee in a globe factory. In late July, following a stint in Havana, McAfee was detained by the Dominican Republic authorities and held for 4 days before being released without charge. He then made his way to London, where he is a citizen, and ended up in a then undisclosed location where he began tweeting videos from a tinfoil-lined room.
People are asking what this cage of tinfoil and metal is all about that's around me. It's a Faraday cage. A Faraday cage is a cage which emits no signal, and no signal can enter. Why am I doing this? Because I am an escaped slave. A slave to the system that escaped, and I have a loud voice.
After a few weeks and a series of Twitter videos that could be described as snippets of a grand manifesto, McAfee's location was leaked as being in an Icelandic small town, leading to a series of location changes, some real and some fake, until he and his wife finally settled in a new, undisclosed location. This one ditches the tinfoil aesthetic and instead opts for a soothing buttermilk color. From this location, the manifesto continues to unfold.
Centralized exchanges are our weak point. Decentralized exchanges are our escape. A decentralized and a distributed exchange can't be shut down by anyone.
During this time as a nomad, McAfee has been keeping busy, promoting crypto projects, playing the piano, and teaching people how to mix drinks, such as the classic vodka straight from the bottle.
Glubina, straight from Russia. I got this through a friend. I don't know how much it cost. More than your car, certainly, but probably not more than your wife. But in any case, this is how you fucking drink it. Ah! Ah! Oh, now that.
John McAfee. First of all, this was a prolific look at your last several months done by none other than Zachy Hennessy, sitting here with me. We're both very, very happy to have the chance to let you know we launched about nearly a year ago, and you were one of our hopes and wishes. So I'm glad you're joining us today. I want to talk Dex before anything else, because McAfeeDex.com launched, I believe, how long ago?
October 7th. It's about 3 weeks.
About 3 weeks ago, October 7th. And you tweeted earlier this week, I think a few days ago, there's the tweet, Zaki, help me out here.
Here's flattery for you. We launched McAfeeDex.com 2 weeks ago. Today, if you type McAfeeDex.com with 2 Fs, it gets forwarded to Binance. Thank you, CZ.
Now, John, we've checked this out. That is actually the case, right?
Yeah, I was surprised. Listen, John, I thought you were pulling some tomfoolery. It's actually legit. Imagine my surprise.
So how did this happen? Do you think that, you've been manipulated, conspiracy theory, abundant, a planned thing, or a faux pas?
No, these trivial things do not matter. I mean, here's what we've done. And by the way, the Dex is in beta. We tell everybody it's a beta version.
So it's a beta version.
But without a long beta, distributed DEXs are not trivial things to put together. Decentralized distributed DEXs are near impossible, but we've done one. Our DEX does not require any information. We don't care what country you're from. If you're in America, you can use the DEX. We don't ask for documentation. We don't hold anybody's money. Our DEX is a system of smart contracts on the Ethereum blockchain. And as such, they're there forever. That's what the blockchain is for. It's an immutable record, and the smart contracts are there. We've created a system of portals, and the McAfeeDex.com is just one portal. We have 13 up now. We'll have 100 before the end of the year and 1,000 before the end of next year. And these are anybody in the world. By the way, the source is open source, both for the contracts and for code, and anybody can look at it. Open source, if you want to take it and make your own exchange, that's fine. You owe us nothing. It's open source.
Now
you can do what you wish.
Now, you said,
I'm sorry?
You said actually, thank you for correcting us, it's in beta right now. The idea to go completely live is when?
Okay, so here's our thing. We went beta with the Ethereum blockchain just because it's the largest number of tokens, thousands. Okay, so there was a good test for us. It was a good volume test. So we learned a lot. We fixed our speed. We've done a whole bunch of things. On the 8th of November, we'll add the Tron blockchain. On the 1st of January, we'll add Binance, EOS, and NEO. And then the 1st of May, we will go live with cross chains between all of these separate blockchains. We will, in fact, be the equivalent of Binance, only we're distributed and decentralized. It doesn't cost anything to list a coin on our exchange. We have a button at the top of the page that says add token. Press it, put in the technical details of your token, and you're listed. So we're not out here to rip people. We're here to give people the power that they need. Centralized exchanges.
Now, John, speaking of power.
I'm sorry.
John, just a minute. Zaki here has a question. Hold on, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so a while ago, you said you were going to launch this Freedom Coin, and it didn't pull through. But man, I liked the website you posted for it. Is there any chance that the Freedom Coin will be revived on the McAfee Dex?
I don't think so. I'm going to be frank with you. Listen, I'm in a fucking Faraday cage. I'm here with my wife, my lovely Mrs. Janice McAfee. And because of the help of very close friends and remarkably capable people, we're safe. No one's going to, you have to believe me, no one is going to be able to find us. It's not possible. I am the leader of cybersecurity, which means I have to understand spying and tracking better than anybody. So you're not going to find me. We are safe. Go ahead.
No, you are safe, clearly in an undisclosed location. I have a question for you, because essentially you claim that, and you've been very open about that, you have not paid taxes in at least 8 years, that the IRS is on your case. The IRS is yet to confirm it. Nobody in the IRS has said that they're chasing you.
It makes no difference whether they've confirmed it or not. We have released the grand jury indictment from the 22nd of January. We released 2 weeks ago Google finally caught to the fact that the IRS has been demanding that they get all the information, including reading all the messages on Janice's account, my wife's account. I mean, and they finally said, we can now tell you, meaning the subpoena has expired. So you know they're watching me too. Please God, they're doing it.
I'm beginning to slightly...
They're not living in a cave.
Now, because we have such a bizarre connection, I don't know if it's Google or our internet, but that said, because you know, you're mentioning some very clear, specific thing, and yet, before we touch on many issues such as Libra that I'm dying to hear what you think about, and yet, you have promised to once again run for the presidential elections of 2020. This is how you launched it, your campaign just before actually, I think, going rogue. Let's have a listen.
January 22nd, 2019. For 2 years, I've been speaking at conferences around the world and writing and making videos about the fact that cryptocurrency will at some point come head to head with governments. Why? Because when privacy coins are widely used, governments will no longer be able to collect income taxes, meaning governments will have to shrink and find new means. And I've always said, this is a good thing. And I've said, we will at some point be at war. We are today at war. I have not paid taxes for 8 years. I've made no secret of it. I have not filed returns. Every year I tell the IRS, I'm not filing a return. I have no intention of doing so. Come and find me.
Now, John, we may be at war, but at the end of the day, the system that, be it people in the cryptosphere or yourself, that is being fought against is still in play. Case in point, Libra going up the hill tomorrow to Washington, Mark Zuckerberg going to defend his so-called crypto, project. Telegram's Tom, one can argue, capitulating to the SEC or to regulators. How can you launch something that, and promise a world that is still very far away?
Okay, well, let's talk about Libra, for example, and anything that comes from corporations or governments. That's not helping people. That's co-opting a technology that came from the people for corporate and government purposes, hoping that you will use those coins rather than the coins that the people have created, like Bitcoin and Ethereum, Monero, and on down the line. You don't have to use them. Understand? I mean, the government can say, you must use the US dollar crypto coin and nothing else. Who cares what they say? They have said for 75 years, you may not smoke weed. I'm sorry, that didn't work. From 1920 to 1933, they said, you can't drink alcohol. That didn't work. You cannot legislate what a large percentage of the population wishes to do. It just can't be done. I mean, you can certainly legislate and enforce bank robberies, you name it. That's a small minority.
But then why do you think that Libra is going, if what you're saying is correct, okay, and you cannot legislate certain new technologies, yet the people in charge of those, like Mark Zuckerberg, are still going to the regulators and asking them to find a way to regulate this new digital coin?
Well, because through regulation, you get connected to the powers within governments. And by that connection, you get all of the gravy, for God's sake. That doesn't mean you have to do it. I didn't do it. I created something that can't be shut down. Did I ask a regulator? Fuck no, I had none of their business. This technology came from the people and must stay with the people. Please, God, see that. They can't legislate against it. They can't pass laws to stop it. I mean, it's Pandora's box, people. You are not shoving it back into the box.
How are you going to run for president from an undisclosed location?
I'm doing it. I mean, I have an organization. I have regional managers and hundreds of volunteers and a campaign manager. I mean, what do you mean how? We're in the age of the internet. I'm talking to you, but I see your smiling face, and I see the videos you're putting up. Oh my God, that's hey baby, it's Lexington, Tennessee. Anyway,
I'm wondering, are you? I had a theory because I'm wondering if you're actually in Tennessee, but I'm not going to put you on the spot with that. Let's say I want Zaki here to join your presidential campaign and cover it. I'm not kidding.
Hello, John. Big fan. As previously mentioned, would love to be on your campaign.
Exactly. But let's say,
doing?
bingo, I want Zaki to go cover that presidential campaign because I think that, in the age of Trump, really, it makes complete sense. How do we get Zaki to you?
I want to meet you, John. I want to shake your hand, John.
Not going to say
that's possible. I mean, a couple of people have come in the past, since you've been here for 4 months almost now. Yeah, I mean, we'll fly you into an undisclosed location. You put on a blindfold. They ferry you around a bunch of different cities, drop you off at bus stations, random people pick you up, blindfold you again, and finally via helicopter, you can come and visit me. Then you have to go through
I'll
that
do it
same
as
thing
long
going
as you
back.
send an email to my wife that says I'm totally safe and fine.
And I think that would be the case. What, John, I want to
trust
go.
Me. Anybody around me, and Mrs. Janice, please come and help me. This is Janice. I want her to
Janice.
verify.
Hello.
Hey, Janice.
Hi.
Janice, by the way.
How's everyone?
Hello. I want to thank you for
Janice.
approving. People don't understand that Janice is the one who approved this interview, and like every good man, you do what your missus tells you. So that's
Indeed.
indeed, that's how it
Janice,
should be.
Janice will verify one thing. Everybody around me is safe. Is this
Yes.
true?
This is very true. Yes.
I don't care what conditions we're in, even when all 6 or 7 of us, 8 of us were in jail in the Dominican Republic, I kept saying, everybody keep calm.
Yes, you
It'll
did.
be a few days. Trust me, I got this. I'm 74 fucking years old, and I have lived all over the earth, and it's nothing I haven't done. If I tell you I've got it, I've got it.
He does.
Nobody has been hurt in my
Jennifer,
presence.
you're amazing.
All right? So
And-
you can tell your wife that, and I'll tell her, okay?
Fair
No,
enough.
no. And as far as I'm concerned, I want Zaki on the way there. I want to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in the United States right now. Because as you mentioned, the 2020 campaign is something that you're running ahead, with. Good luck on that one. People say that the dogmatic, I've deemed it now, the dogmatic policies of Donald Trump are essentially working America backwards. Would you agree with that? Because right now, we just had an interview with Tom Lee who said there's no chance cryptocurrency will be regulated or be regarded as anything serious as long as this administration is in play. Would you agree with that?
Okay, well, first, I do not believe that it matters who's president. I mean, America has the illusion that Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton are actually going to make a fucking difference. Do you understand? They're stepping into a job that might just be as short as 4, no longer than 8, in a system with career bureaucrat. Presidents are really, okay, who's coming in? Who won Trump? Okay, you deal with Trump. You tell him the facts of life. Do you realize that presidents are not allowed access to top secret programs if the group of people who control our secrets, that is the NSA and the CIA and the 14 covert agencies, including Navy intelligence, Army intelligence, Air Force intelligence, these agencies control America. Dwight Eisenhower warned us about it in the late 50s. He says, good God, watch out for this. So they're the new Praetorian Guard. Presidents have no power. They sit presidents out, here it is, here's what you need to do. If you need any help, call us. Stay in this area, don't bother us over here. They have nothing, they're pups with 1,000 strings. So I don't give a shit about personalities. This is not the problem. The problem is the system. The problem is that we have absolutely no knowledge of truth because we get fed what the CIA and NSA tells the president and Congress. and then they feed it to the press, and then the press feeds it to us. We don't know jack shit. What? Ask me what to do about the Middle East? I don't have a clue. And if someone tells you that they do, one of two things is happening. They're lying to you, or they're lying to themselves. This is the truth of American politics.
Listen, I'll agree with you with that. It's a colossal swamp entirely. But before we conclude, we posted actually BLOCKTV because, needless to say, you're one of the leading names in the sphere. We asked our users and viewers to post a question for you, and Zachy Hennessy, who will be joining your campaign, as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, John, big fan. Zachy Hennessy, follow me on Twitter. Okay, so when you confirmed this interview, I shit my pants, and then I went ahead and posted a video on Twitter asking anybody if they had any questions for you. And they do indeed have questions for you. That question comes from Todd Simmons 4. The 4 is important. He says, ask him who Satoshi is, and then 9 crying laughter emojis, which I assume just gives a kind of idea of the depth and the gravity of the situation.
Oh, please tell us.
Yeah. Yes. You want to answer?
Sure.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Listen. Okay, first of all, we know all the players that were involved in the creation of Bitcoin. I mean, starting with Dr. Adam Back in his 1985 paper about hashing and potential electronic currencies. We know the players, even Craig Wright, played a very important role. Satoshi is merely the jerk that wrote the white paper for it. And that's not Craig Wright. All right? And you want to know who it is? Please, God, buy some authoring software, get the white paper, do an input 1 from the white paper, input 2, because everybody involved in the creation of Bitcoin has written hundreds of technical papers. Take a technical paper and do an authorship compare.
All right, John.
It'll give you 99% guarantee who it is. Yes.
Yeah, the next time you're releasing a big project, what I need you to do is you got to contact me and let me write the white paper so I can be the Makatoshi. That's really what I need kind of as the next step in my career.
But let me give everybody a clue. Read Satoshi's white paper. 2 things are very apparent even without author. All of the spellings where you have an option between American spelling and British spelling is all British. Number 2, whoever wrote the paper used the minority position for how many spaces after a period used. That's a very minority position. If you take all the fucking candidates, there are only 2 of them who are British, and only 1 of those double spaces after a period. Duh. Please God, it's a trivial thing, and no one cares who Satoshi is.
John, I first of all, I think that was one of the best answers to that question that I've ever heard. And I cannot thank you, and especially Jennifer, for conducting this interview. My
Thanks
son
a
and
lot.
I. There we go.
Thank you.
Sorry, and there she go. And in that respect, all of this just made us want to go right now and have a drink with you. Thank you so much. Thank Mrs. McAfee for being with us. We were BLOCKTV. You were fabulous. And we will
thank
hopefully
you so much.
Hopefully
And
we'll
if you're
join you on your
putting me
boat.
back on, it's very unlikely. No one wants me on twice. But if you do, you guys have been very polite. So contact Janice again. If she's in a good mood, she'll see. Okay.
Tell Janice she's on. Tell Janice we will be contacting her again. Thank you, folks. Have a great day.
Love you. Bye.
Okay.